What is going on, everybody? Faster Freedom here. This is the Faster Freedom LiveCast. Happy fall. That's the bad side of the pumpkin. Here's the good side of the pumpkin. Thought this was festive because it's not fall yet, but this is actually a really ugly pumpkin. But it is September. So happy September. Good to be seeing you all. We usually go live every single week on Thursdays at 11:30, but we decided to change that up. We decided to go live a little bit more in the evening so we could hopefully contact more people and get a little more interaction. The whole goal of all of this is to interact and answer questions. Yes, I'm going to talk today about the top 5 things if you're a new real estate investor that you need to do as you get started building your real estate rental portfolio, or even just getting involved in real estate and building a just your own book of business. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Just to let you know what we're talking about. I'm going to talk a little bit about the market. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, give you my thoughts on all this rent strike stuff, and then I'm going to talk about the 5 things that new real estate investors need to be doing. 5 tips. There's probably a couple bonus tips in there as well, but let me know where you're from. The whole goal of this is for me to give you guys information and help new real estate investors, but also answer questions. I love interaction, so tell me where you're from. Ask any questions you have about real estate investing at all. My name is Sam Primm. I own a $10 million rental portfolio. I built that in the past 5 years. I also am part owner of a house buying company. We buy 150 to 200 houses a year. I'm called Faster House. In our office, we also have Faster Funds Lending, which is a hard money lending business. So we lend out to other real estate investors. We also have Magnolia, which is a traditional real estate brokerage. It's, I think, going to do about $60 million this year in its first full year. Then I mentioned earlier that myself, Brian, and Lucas, who are the 3 owners of Faster House and Faster Freedom, also have a combined rental portfolio of about $25 million. And then we have this Faster Freedom, this education business. So we do a lot of real. What's up, Michigan? You're here. What's up, my man? How you doing? I see you. I saw you ask some questions earlier in other videos, so I appreciate you watching live. Any questions you have about real estate investing, I'd be glad to ask them. So tell me where you're from. Say hey. I want to give as much content and much quality as I can. So that's a little bit about me. That's a little bit about us. Let's get into what we think about the real estate market. So the market is really, really hot right now. It's crazy hot. I just talked to somebody from Wyoming today. I've talked to someone from New York in the past week, and California. Everywhere right now, the real estate market is hot. But it's kind of crazy because we're still lingering in the COVID. We're going into the election period, which is always crazy. What's up? This is okay. So I'm gonna start calling you James. What's up, Godslayer? What's going on, everybody? Eric, what's going on? Hey, everybody. Ask questions. Tell me where you're from. Say hey. I'd appreciate it. All the what's ups I can get. Let me know where you're from, and I'm just here to answer all your questions. And if you're just joining me, I'm going to talk about the 5 things that new real estate investors need to do when they're getting started. And there's a couple bonus ones in there. So let me know where you're from. I was just getting ready to talk about the market, but before I do, we got a fancy intro. Let's go. How's that for an intro, though? That wasn't too bad, right? Looking at me, making us look professional and stuff. I guess I probably can't cuss here, it's live, but making us look professional. Usually when I cuss in our edited videos, we can edit that out. So put all your questions in the box. I'm going to talk a little bit about the real estate market and what I think what's going on. And then I'm going to talk about the top 5 things that real estate investors, new real estate investors should know or need to know. And I'm also going to answer questions, anybody's questions that they have throughout this whole thing. Look at that. All right, so Arizona, St. Charles, good vibes. Look at that. That's almost part of her name, or just good vibes. Rachel is a rock star, though. So appreciate you guys joining and watching. So the market update. So it is hot right now across the entire country, not just in St. Louis where we're from. Like I mentioned earlier, I alluded to earlier, I've talked to people on every coast, and in between, I actually talked to someone from South Africa last week. I'm calling about doing our live rental academy, which we can talk about later. But the market is hot. And why is the market so hot right now? Because demand is here and supply is here. How official is that for a visual for you guys? Demand is here and supply is here. What's up, Brian? What's going on, everybody? Thanks for saying hi. Keep watching. Any questions you got, I'd appreciate. Arkansas, duh. I'm sorry about that. Arizona's AZ. Come on, guys, there. Give me a break. All right. So the supply is here. The demand is here for real estate right now. It seems like if your property is priced right on the retail markets, it's selling, and it seems like if you have a nice property that has that's updated and you want to rent it, it is renting fast. So the market is hot right now, and then usually it's slowing down right now. In August, September, people will go back to school, it slows down, and especially in election years, it seems to, who knows, sometimes right before the election, it shoots off, and sometimes it completely stops until the election, and then it's wintertime, and then it slows off a little bit. So the market is crazy right now. If you guys could let me know, a lot of people from here aren't in St. Louis, so just let me know how your market is. Put the comments there and let me know if your market's hot. Let me know if I'm full of it, or if your market's hot out there as well. Also, be drinking from this cup. This is my rental company's logo. This has nothing to do with the Cardi B song. Cardi B stole our logo and made a song about it, and I have a lawsuit pending. I've used that joke on TikTok as well. James knows that. So anyways, let's get rolling. So that's what the market's update. If you guys have any other things about the market, just let me know. But let's get into this. So like, share, and comment. The whole goal of this is to provide quality content to people that are watching live. If you're on here live, I want to answer your questions and give you as much feedback as I can. And then also I want to provide value because this is a YouTube live, so it and Facebook Live, so it stays on YouTube and stays on Facebook for people to watch after the fact. So balancing the act of answering the questions you guys have, which I want to do. The whole reason I'm doing this is to answer questions, get interaction, and then also to provide quality content for people to watch after the fact. So that's the kind of the balancing act I'm doing. Put your questions in the box. I'd love to answer them. So let's get into it. So the top 5 tips for new real estate investors. I usually in these lives talk about the BRRRR strategy, how to buy rentals without using any of your own money. But tonight I'm going to talk specifically about the top 5 things that, and there's some bonuses in there too. The top 5 things, I have my pumpkin, the top 5 things that real estate investors, that new real estate investors need to do. So whether you have 1 rental, 10 rentals, 0 rentals, or you want to wholesale, or you want to fix and flip, whatever you want to do in real estate, that is amazing, because real estate is the most powerful wealth building tool ever created that most people can, if not everybody, has access to. I mean, it's created more millionaires than anything else, than tech stocks, than Forex, than Bitcoin, than all that stuff. It's created more millionaires than all those combined. So I'm here to talk about the top 5 things, plus some bonuses that you guys can get started on. I'm going to be scrolling back between my presentation and questions, so keep the questions coming. I want to give as much feedback and quality as I can. We're building 6 new subdivisions there down in Arizona, Arkansas, just kidding. And then South Texas is hot right now. Price is key, and Texas has been hot for a while. So let me know where you're from. Let me know how your market is, and I'm getting ready to talk to you guys about the top 5 things. So let's just dig into the first one and get rolling. So the first one is communication is key. Now, this may sound silly, but this is something that I did not do. This is one of the mistakes that I made, and this is what you can learn from my mistakes. Communicate with your family and friends once you're getting started. It is bigly, I can't do a Donald Trump accent. We never get into politics, but bigly, this is bigly important, is to communicate with family and communicate with friends, especially if you have a significant other, a wife, a husband, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever you may have. You need to let them know that you want to get invested in real estate and tell them why, because real estate investing is so freaking powerful, and it takes a commitment. You can't just, spend an hour a month and become a successful real estate investor. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes some money. There's a lot of things you can do that don't require money, but overall, obviously, it takes some money, some time, and some effort to be a successful real estate investor. Now, it's well worth it, because becoming a successful real estate investor can create financial freedom quicker than anything else. I mean, I've invested in real estate for a little over 5 years, and I have 116 rental doors, and own a company that buys 150 to 200 houses a year. So the things that real estate can do for you are crazy, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I got started. But you need to communicate that with your family, your friends, your parents, your kids, and then your significant others. They need to know what you're doing, because you're going to be going through some ups and downs. You've all seen the stats of what entrepreneur goes through each day: up, down, up, down, up, down. And real estate investing is no different. So you're going to go through a lot of highs that you want to celebrate with other people, and you're going to go through a ton of lows. Hopefully not a ton of lows. Let's back up a little bit. That was me backing up. You're going to go through a ton of highs and a few lows. But when you're on the highs, you want someone to celebrate and clink beers with, or water, whatever you drink. And then when you're going through the lows, you need somebody there to support you, because that's going to happen. We just lost $39,000 on a deal this month. So we've owned it for 2 years, a mess of a deal, but we still had a record month. So that was kind of crazy. But anyways, there's highs and lows. So make sure you communicate with your family quickly. I did not communicate as well as I should have up front when I got started with my wife, and she is a rock star. She's an all-star. She stuck with me, and she, made sure that I needed to understand, that she needed to understand what I was spending all my evenings and weekends working on. So I started to communicate with her, and things went much smoother. Actually, in fact, I ended up doing some PowerPoint presentations for her to let her see what I was doing, because I was just like, I'm doing the right thing for our family, so I don't even need your approval. That's not right. You do. So definitely communicate with family and friends. That is extremely important for the highs and the lows. What's going on? Hey, Alex, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. You watching. Oh, St. Louis, Cam. This guy's a rock star. Cam Cathcart right here is one of our buyers. He has bird his last 10 birds, his first 10 birds, he's taken out at least $5,000. So he's made $5,000 cash and built cash flowing rentals. Dude's a stud. He's writing a book, and I'm going to sign it, or he's going to sign it for me. So anyways, appreciate you guys. Keep asking questions. Put a comment there. I would love to answer any questions you have about real estate investing. I am not a professional speaker or presenter, but I am a professional real estate investor. I know a lot about it, and I'd love to help any way I can, provide content for people watching live, and then also provide the more questions you ask, the more people that are watching this later on will get content out of it. So please do not be afraid to ask any questions or put any comments there. I appreciate it. If you're watching on Facebook, please share and like this, and on YouTube, please comment on there and give this a like as well. So went through the first thing. I'm talking about the top 5 things that real estate investors, new real estate investors, need to do. The first is communicate. It may sound simple, but it's important, and most people don't do it. Communicate with your close-knit group of people that you are getting ready to get invested in real estate, and you're going to need their help and support along the way. All right, let's go into number 2. The number 2 thing that is important for new real estate investors is you need to get involved in the community. You can't do this on your own. You're not going to be able to just go out there and scroll the MLS or get to know one real estate agent to become a successful real estate investor. You need other people to help you along the way. The real estate investing community is actually not that big. It's pretty small. There's not a ton of big players in every market. So you need to get to know the big players, the little players, the newbies. You need to get involved in your local real estate investing community. It can change your life. One of our other buyers, full-time buyers, Dusty, he went to our real estate meetup club 3 years ago, not knowing anything really about real estate. I'm not sure he still does. Just kidding, Dusty. But he didn't really know a ton about real estate investing. He had maybe done some carpentry work and a flip or so, but he went to that real estate investing group, and he met a group of like-minded real estate investors, which is what all those meetup groups are. Go to meetup.com and search for real estate investing groups in your area. Right now, I think they're only promoting virtual groups because of all the stuff going on, but eventually that'll subdue, and they'll be able to promote the live ones. We still have our live in-person ones the third Thursday of every month. But to go back to what I was saying earlier, Dusty went to one not knowing a ton. Still doesn't know a ton. Use that joke twice. But he has 33 freaking rental doors now in less than 3 years. Honestly, it's 100% because he went to one of those local meetups. He'll tell you, I'll give you his phone number, and he'll like that. And it's 100% the reason why, he went there, he got motivated, he connected with the right people, he connected with our network, he got to know contractors there, other wholesalers, real estate agents. Going to those local meetups will literally change your life if you go to the right ones. So all the big players in your market are either there, they run them, so you want to know them, or they're there because they understand the value of them. So go to those local meetups. If you're an introvert, that's okay. It's as important to get out of your comfort zone. All the great things happen on the periphery of your comfort zone. And if you are an extrovert, you're going to love it. You're going to go hand out cards, meet people, go find people that are running and connect with people. It is bigly important. If you watched earlier, you know that joke. If you're just joining me, appreciate you joining me. Stay tuned. I promise to provide a bunch of knowledge tonight. So I got some questions coming. I'm going to answer the questions. I went through the top 2 reasons so far what new real estate investors need to do. I'm going to round that one out, and then I'm going to get into the next 3 here after I answer a couple of these questions. So I want to provide value and content for the people that are watching as well as the people that are going to watch later. So let's get into it. James, which is Godslayer on TikTok. He's my boy. He's always got my back on there. A house in Conway, Arkansas, 3-bed, 2-bath, right, runs a 250 to 275 grand, a house in the market that is hot. This college town, rentals will get 12. So yeah, so it works right now. So the market's hot is what he's saying. That's awesome. Another question here. thoughts on eviction ban till the end of the year? I knew this was coming. This is a great question. So if you're not aware, Trump, through the CDC, which is crazy, all these loopholes that that can be done in politics, has banned evictions through the end of 2020. It's going to stop there, and then it may get extended. But basically, if somebody's not paying due to COVID-related issues and work-related issues because of COVID, then they cannot be evicted. Now, that does not mean they don't have to pay. That means they can't get evicted. Renters still have to pay. So this will cause a little blip in the market, especially for real estate investors and landlords that own, a few properties or don't have their processes and procedures in order. This is going to really, really hurt those kind of people. And the people that have their stuff in order and the people that have processes and procedures and treat tenants fairly, like we do, are going to benefit from something like this. So when I heard this news, I was like, oh crap, that's probably not good. But I read into a little more. It just happened today, so I need to do a little more research. So I don't want to speak too much on it. But I think it's a good thing that people are not, because a lot of landlords mistreat tenants, a lot of tenants mistreat landlords. It goes both ways. So it's good that some landlords will not be able to just kick people out without due cause. So you still have to pay your rent. They're not forgiving rent at this time, and they're not going to. I promise that. They're not going to forgive rent unless there's a government assistance that's going to pay for that rent. They're not just going to forget rent, because if rent's forgiven, or if people don't pay the rent, then the landlords, most of them don't make a ton of money. They're going to have to foreclose, and this is going to be this huge thing that's just not going to happen. So in my opinion, it's a little early to know the ramifications, but the tenants still have to pay. If they don't pay and decide just not to pay because they can't get evicted, then they will get evicted on January 1st, whenever they can. I promise you there'll be a flood of evictions, but landlords will not put up with that. So it is interesting. We'll see how it goes from there. I know that most of our tenants, over 95% of our tenants, are still paying. This may change that, but we'll see. We communicate with them, and the government's, I think, getting ready to put out another stimulus check here in the next couple of weeks, and then also the additional unemployment is going to be put back on there. So I want to take a deep breath about it. I don't think it's the end of the world, but it definitely could potentially be an issue. So how are you obtaining more cash than what you have put into the property, i.e. rehab costs? Great question, Robert Wadsack. What's up, my friend? So I talked earlier about doing the BRRRR method. I won't get into that after this. Just if you're tuning in, I've been talking about the top 5 things that new real estate investors need to do. I went over 1 and 2. I'll recap those here shortly, and then I'll go 3, 4, and 5 plus some bonuses. So stay tuned. I would really appreciate that. Apparently, I talk with my hands when I'm doing this, but stay tuned. I really would appreciate it. I promise to provide as much knowledge as I can. Just hang on with me here a little bit. It's better than whatever Netflix show you're watching. I mean, come on, you at least can learn something from this. So as far as that's the BRRRR method. So when you buy, rehab, rent, refinance, if you use the BRRRR method and you are under 75 or 80% of what you have in the property, a bank will loan you up to that percentage. So if you're in a property 75,000, it appraises for 80,000 or appraises for 100,000, and the bank cuts your check for 80,000, you can keep that extra $5,000. So that's where that comes from. What's up, Brooks? What's up, dude? What's going on? How you doing, man? All right, so going to answer this question, then get back into the top 5 things that real estate investors need to do, new real estate investors especially, but if you're not new, you can take these and take them to heart and learn from them as well. So going to answer this question, then get back into those, so stay tuned. Have you found renovation costs have increased due to demand and products forcing higher? Yeah, so real estate costs have gone up, product costs have gone up a little bit, but nothing crazy. I know that that potentially lumber's gone up like over 100%. So new construction, a lot of the newer construction appliances stuff has been affected a little bit, but nothing crazy yet. And in my opinion, the supply line is being compressed because of COVID and everything. So that is why obviously some of this stuff is not available. But in my opinion, that just provides an opportunity for someone local to do it. I'm sure there's local sawmills getting put up everywhere to help overcome the shortage of lumber. And then same with appliances. I'm sure there's local USA companies that are really kicking into gear to try and take advantage of that high demand. So if you're just joining me, stay tuned. Give me a like if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, give me a like and make sure to subscribe to our channel. I'd appreciate it. So the top 5 things for new real estate investors. I'm going to go over 1 and 2 quickly because I already went over them, and then dig into number 3. So number 1 is communicate. You need to communicate with your family and friends. They need to be there with you to celebrate your highs, and they need to be there to help you through the inevitable lows that will be there. You need them. So make sure to communicate with them. Number 2 is get involved in the community. Go to local meetups. Going to one local meetup can literally change your life. I gave you an example earlier how it changed Dusty's life. So if you weren't watching earlier, go back and watch that part as soon as I'm not going to go over that story again, but going to local real estate investing meetup groups can literally change your life. And then also join local Facebook real estate investing groups. Every single market has them. St. Louis market has probably 5 or 10, and they have between 3,000 and 15,000 people in them. I'm in the ones in most of the markets around the country because I'm in a mastermind that's involved with all the usually a lot of the big players in each of the cities. So I'm involved in a lot of those. Every single big city has several of them, and even a lot of small towns have them. So get to know those local real estate investing Facebook groups. Just go there, the group icons, that little circle with the 3 heads in it. Go there. Facebook knows where you are. You don't have to type in your local town. I mean, you can, but if you're in Nashville, if you're in Chicago, if you're in San Diego, if you're in North Carolina, just type in real estate investing groups or real estate investing in the group logo, and they will pop up. There's bunches of them in your area, and there's a lot of tire kickers on there. There's a lot of people that never invested in real estate and never will, but there's also all the big players in your market, all the wholesalers, all the contractors. People say, I can never find good contractors, I can't find good deals. Go to the local meetups, meetup.com, and then go to the Facebook groups as well. You will meet a ton of people in those. They're extremely powerful. So go to those and get connected to your local network. It will do you wonders. I'm going to keep going here, and then I will get going on some more questions. So appreciate you guys joining me. We do this usually on Thursdays at 11:30 in the afternoon. We decided to try it and by myself because Brian's at a movie and Lucas just bought a new house, so he's moving into his new house. So I'm doing this by myself. So give me some love, give me some likes, give me some shares. I'd appreciate it. Show those guys that we don't need them anyway. The third thing you need to do if you're a new real estate investor is you really need to over-educate yourself. Over-educate, because this is a big deal. You're going to be buying properties and fixing it up. It's not like you're buying a bike and fixing it up. You're buying a freaking house and fixing it up. Whether you're fixing it up and keeping it as a rental or you're fixing it up and flipping, it's a big deal. You're taking on a huge project. I feel like sometimes, we buy almost 200 houses a year and I have 116 rental doors. So sometimes buying houses doesn't seem like as big a deal to me as it really is. So I kind of was putting this together. I thought about how big a deal it is to newer people. And the more you're educated, the less big a deal it is. Now that I know a lot and done a ton, I still have a ton to learn, but now that I've done quite a bit, I understand it and I'm not as scared because I'm educated. So if you're just getting started, over-educate yourself. Watch our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube, go to our Instagram, go to our TikTok if you want even. Follow us on there. We will help you more than any channel I've ever seen for free. We give as much content as, we're just not professional speakers and we're not as super handsome as a lot of the channels are, but we provide some of the best quality content out there for free. So also, and join other groups though. I mean, there's other podcasts you can listen to. Bigger Pockets is obviously good. There's other amazing YouTube channels. We're not the most amazing one. We're probably the most amazing small one. But there's other channels out there to follow. So there's just so much knowledge you can get into. As far as books, I get asked all the time. And if you ask a question, I'm going to get to it here in a minute. I'm just going to scroll through this for now. I get asked all the time, what are your favorite books, real estate investing books? Now, I think those are good for like mindset, like Eat That Frog. I love that. The Morning Miracle, those kind of things about Pitch Anything. Those books about, mindset. But as far as like the real estate industry, I feel like it changes a decent amount of the time. And it also, there's just so much going on right now. It's so fluid up and down. So I like to follow local podcasts and local YouTube, or not local, but podcasts and YouTube channels that are constantly updating and going with the times, which ours does. So don't only subscribe to ours, but definitely subscribe to ours if you're interested at all. Here's the pumpkin, because it's September. So subscribe to ours, but over-educate yourself. There's so much out there that you can do. There's so many resources you have. So get that education. So when you do make those calls, you feel a little more comfortable at it. You're never going to be fully comfortable right off the bat because it's just something that's new and different. But as you educate yourself and as you do more, you will get more comfortable. So keep questions. I see a couple more questions on there. I will promise you I will get to them. So stay tuned. We have some bonuses coming and I will get to those questions as well. So the fourth thing that new real estate investors need to do, whether you're fixing and flipping or you're renting, you're using the BRRRR method, whether you're putting 20% down, whatever you're doing, you need to line up your short-term and long-term. If you're doing rentals, you need long-term funding. If you're flipping, you don't. But you need to line up your short-term and long-term funding because you want to have that funding lined up. You need to go to private lenders, which are friends, acquaintances, your grandma's neighbor, your grandma, your parents' friends, your friends' parents. They're just usually local acquaintances. that you know that have extra money. They're affluent, they have money, they understand that real estate investing is powerful, but they will give you money and you can use their money to buy and repair properties, whether to hold them as rentals or to fix and flip them and sell them. You know, it's extremely powerful. So line up that initial funding. It might take you 6 months or 2 years to find a private lender. They're not just falling off of trees, or I guess that's the saying. They're not just falling off of trees. You can find them, but they take time. Don't get discouraged. It's worth 2 years to find one great private lender, I promise. And then there's hard money lending, which is the short-term lending as well. That's a company that is willing to loan you money on real estate for fix and flips and rehab. So those are great. Those are great resources. And guess where you can find them? On number 2, we're getting involved in the community. The number 2 of this, local real estate investing groups are full of hard money lenders and some private money lenders, and then also sort of the local meetups and then the Facebook groups. So I think I said 2 answers 3 times, but that's okay. The local Facebook groups are full of hard money lenders. So everything you have to do all 5 of these. You can't just do 1 or 2. They all work together. So this will really help, I promise. So line up that funding short term, and then long term. If you're using the BRRRR method, or you're going to do a long term loan on a property that's a rental, more than likely, obviously, you need to line up that funding. So when the deal comes across your plate, here's the deal, here's your plate. When the deal comes across your plate, you need to be able to strike and take advantage of that. I'm going to get to the question, so if you ask a question, stay tuned. I promise I'll get to them and ask any questions you have about real estate investing. But if the deal comes across your plate, you want to be able to strike right away, especially with the market being so competitive right now. So once the deal comes across your plate, strike right away. If you have your funding lined up for the short term and long term, you'll be able to take advantage of that and strike right away. It's a huge deal. So make sure that you have that funding lined up. Like I said, in the short and long term, it makes a big difference in being able to pull the trigger quickly. I see the questions. I'm going to get to them here in a minute. I'm getting ready to go over number 5, and there's bonuses and there's questions. So stay tuned. We're just getting started. So number 5 is the most fun one, the funnest. I don't know which one's a word, but take action. Keep the questions coming. I promise I'll get to them. So take action. This is the most exciting one. You can't get this paralysis by analysis. You're not going to know everything on your first deal. If you follow our YouTube and subscribe to our stuff and even go to that freerentalwebinar.com, you'll know more than most. I'm not kidding. I think after I watched that webinar and after I watched our YouTube, I think you'll know more than I knew after I had 20 deals probably. The first house I bought, Lucas and I just took action. We bought it to flip it. We ended up renting it. We didn't know what we were doing. We never heard of the BRRRR method. We didn't know anything about anything. We just took action. We knew that it was a good deal. We knew that we could either sell it or rent it. We knew we had options, so we just took action. So we did all those steps. You can have paralysis by analysis if you overthink it and overdo it. So if you have the education, if you have the connections, if you have the money, all the stuff I said 1 through 4, you need to take action, because those just on the sidelines don't get any action. So you need to make sure it's a smart decision, a good investment, run it by people that know what they're talking about if it's your first deal. But you need to try, you need to strike, you need to take action. It's extremely important to go do that, because you're not going to get anywhere if you're not willing to pull the trigger and sign the contract. So that is the most fun part, and it's the most powerful part as well. Let's get into some bonuses. Well, then I'm going to answer questions. I'll answer questions all night, so just please stay tuned. If you're on Facebook, share this, like this video. I'd really appreciate it. Comment. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and like as well. So the first bonus tip you need to do is, bonus tip, get a mentor. A little paid help can save you a lot of money and a lot of headaches. So you can have a virtual mentor, even if it's just our YouTube channel, a free virtual mentor, that's fine, but you need to tap into somebody who's done it and been there. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. So I always push myself, and I spend a lot of money on mentorship still to this day. I have a ton to learn, but we do a lot. We buy almost 200 houses a year, and at FasterFreedom, Luke and I and Brian have $25 million rental portfolio, but we still pay $25,000 to $30,000 a year for other mentors and other people, other like-minded investors, because we understand investing in ourselves and investing in our business is huge as far as helping us grow, and it saves us a ton of money and it saves us a ton of headaches. So you can do this. If you get involved in your local real estate investment groups, your local Facebook groups, following on YouTube, virtual mentors, you can find a mentor. Lots of times they'll be free just to help you out on a couple deals. You go to freerentalwebinar.com. We have a ton of free stuff we put on there. We have a paid thing. I'm not going to go in that right now, but just get a mentor, get a coach, whether it's a local person or someone like us that you can pay, that will really, really help make it worth your while and really will help you overcome a ton of obstacles. I just know how many thousands and thousands of dollars I wasted on my first 10, 20 deals, not being able to BRRRR out right away, or just overdoing this or underdoing that, not be able to get stuff rented. So spending a little bit of money can save you a lot of headache. A bonus tip is to subscribe and comment on our videos, on this video on our channel. So that was a little bit of a joke there, but be able to subscribe on that. So let's get into some questions now, and I can go back to the presentation if we need to. Let's get rid of that bonus, and then I'm going to get into some questions now. All right, so comments. I missed a couple of them. Let's go. What's up, fella? Dusty, I talked about you earlier. I don't know if you missed it, but Dusty on here said, what's up? Dusty's the guy that went to, hopefully he's still on there. Dusty's the guy that went to that meetup for the first time, and it changed his life. Like I said, when he went to that meetup, hopefully you're still on here, Dusty. When he went to that meetup, he didn't know a ton about real estate. He still doesn't know a ton about real estate. I'm just kidding. I used that joke earlier, Dusty, so I'm not going to say something behind your back that wouldn't say to your face. So I'm kidding. He does know a ton about real estate, but that changed his life. He had 0 rentals, and in less than 3 years, he has 34. I think I said 33. He has 34 rental doors, and he will tell you it's 100% because he went to that local real estate meetup and met people and got the connections and got the vision and got the motivation to go do things and go to make a difference in his life. And now he's absolutely crushing it. So yeah. And then Lucas on there, we talked about your earlier walls a little bit. You're in your new house, so I was gonna, maybe next week we'll just do a tour of your house while we're talking, so that'd be good. Appreciate it, bro. The Brownlee's in the house. All right, so let's get into some questions. In Austin, Texas, where the market is extremely hot, my brother lives in Austin, Texas, so I'm aware of that as well. Looking to get my first rental, but have a really hard time finding a discount on buying. Should I look in a different area? You can look in a different area. I know there's lots of towns in Texas that make great rentals, so this does not only apply to Austin. So if you live in a bigger market, this applies to you too, so pay attention for sure. The Austin market's really hot. All markets are really hot right now. I think the Austin market's going to keep going for a while because I know they're just putting more factories and more stuff down there, and Texas keeps growing. Everyone's moving south, it seems like. I think you can find deals in there. If you haven't done a deal before, you might not be connected with your local community. So if you just log on, go back and watch the beginning of this video. I tell you the top 5 things that new real estate investors need to do in order to make a big impact right away in their real estate investing career, and which is what you are. It sounds like early. So I think you can make it work in Austin. I really do. My brother lives down there. I know there's parts of towns that work as rentals. I know it's really hot as well, but you can make it work. If you want to go elsewhere, you can. I like being able to drive quickly to the property and assets that I own. So I like local, but I know a ton of people that invest a couple hours outside of their market or across the country. So it can be done. But as far as what you're doing, watch this video, subscribe to our YouTube, watch all our stuff. I promise it can really, really help. I promise it'll really, really help you. But go to your local real estate investing meetups and go to join your local real estate investing Facebook groups, and you will meet the big players there, the small players, the medium players. You will meet people there that will help you, and they'll push you along, and they'll help guide you in the right direction. And go to freerentalwebinar.com. I have them on the bottom. That'll help as well. It's free. So keep asking questions. I'll sit here and answer questions all night. So, all right, James, which my boy got there, knowing a good appraiser. Yeah, appraiser helps a lot too. Knowing good appraiser definitely helps, and treating your appraisers right for sure. So I read earlier that hard money lenders expect you to put down 10% of your own money to show you have some skin in the game. Have you found this to be true with some hard money lenders? Yes. So Ty So Fly is asking about hard money lenders, which if you're not aware who they are, hard money lenders are companies that lend to investors. Like me and you, I use hard money lenders still to this day. Hard money lenders, their whole goal is they borrow money from a bank at this percentage and loan it out at this percentage. So they're just arbitraging, they're just making money on the bank's money because they have access to a bunch of funds. So the whole goal of hard money lending is to loan you money. Now things have tightened up a little bit, Ty So Fly. Things have tightened up a little bit in light of all this COVID stuff. I know a lot of hard money lenders, at the beginning of the year that were loaning up to 80% with no money down, 80% of the appraised value or the after repair value, what the house is worth fixed up. So a lot of times they're loaning 100% of purchase and 100% of rehab without having to put 10% down. I know some are asking for money down now, and some are just asking, but more than likely most are asking you to have access to maybe 10 grand or access to funds. They might not make you use it if you buy the deal well, but they want you to have access to the funds. So things have tightened up a little bit for sure. They weren't always this tight, and they'll loosen up again. And the other thing with hard money lenders is just get to know them. They're people too, and I love about them. They analyze the deal. If you're on Facebook, make sure to give this video a like and a share. If you're on YouTube, like it, and please, I don't know, I guess you could share it, but comment on there. I'd appreciate it as well. Subscribe to our YouTube. But the thing I love about hard money lenders is they take the deal into account. When they underwrite the deal, that takes not more weight than your financials. They're going to want you to have a decent job and decent credit. But if you have your credit is a little lower and your income's a little lower, but you have a screaming deal, they're probably still going to fund it, which is awesome. If you buy a deal for $150,000 and it needs $30,000 rehab and it's worth $300,000, guess what? A hard money lender is probably going to loan you the money on the deal. So they underwrite the deal. That pays a lot into whether they're going to loan you or not. So that's why I love hard money lenders. Keep asking the question, guys. Keep them coming. I'll go all night. And if you heard this joke earlier, you watched it, see me on TikTok, this is Luke's and I's rental company, Walls and Primm, not Cardi B's song. She stole this from us. We are suing her right now. Just kidding, we're not suing her. All right, thoughts on using LLC if going with the partner 50-50? Yeah, so my suggestion, Lucas and I own everything 50-50. We're partners and we have business partners, and we have owned everything in LLC. He owns half, I own the other half. So that's how we do it. And if you can comment on this, Jason, but if you're talking about you owning it, you having an LLC and them not, that's a little different. But I think it's great to have an LLC. Make sure you run it through a lawyer so you know your exit strategy, so you know everything is taken care of if one of you wants to leave the business or God forbid something happened to one of you. So make sure your legal documentation is there. But that's what I do. I own everything in an LLC, and I own half and Luke owns the other half. So I definitely would suggest that. Rick, what's up, my man? You're pretty buff. Looks like you have a beautiful little daughter, about the same age as my daughter. So top cities in St. Louis or St. Charles County for rental investment, tenant quality. Okay. So yeah, so he's talking about St. Louis market. So I'll go over this quickly. I'll go into more detail with you with this after. If you'd love to, I'd love to hop on a call or a text or hit me up on Instagram under FasterFreedom. But I'll go over this quickly. I don't want to dig too much in St. Louis because I know there's people from around the country, but I'll try to make this pertain to the whole country. So there's definitely good and bad areas. You need to decide what area you want to invest in. That probably should have been a tip that I talked about earlier, but a lot of people don't know where they want to invest right when they get started. But there are certain areas. So if you get like a C-level, C-class area, so just example like St. Louis, that's maybe like Bellefonte Neighbors, Spanish Lake, something like that, a C-class area. So if you don't know where those are, that's fine. But a C-class area is a place that you're going to get pretty good cash flow, but you're not going to get appreciation. The houses, 15 years ago are pretty much worth what they're worth now. Not necessarily a war zone, but a place where you're going to get a lot of cash flow and a little bit of appreciation, which is when the value of the house goes up over time with inflation or more in good areas. A B class area, which is probably like, maybe a rougher area in St. Charles, and then like Hazelwood, Florissant over there, a B class area. And if you don't know where those areas are, you understand areas that houses go up, they go up a couple of 2 or 3% a year. They don't get hit too hard during little downturns, and you get decent cash flow. So that's what those areas are. And then an A area is an area that you don't get much cash flow because the property's worth this, and you can't get a huge discount on it, and the rents, aren't, substantially higher than they are in B class areas, but you're going to get appreciation. This is where like big markets, like I know people have rentals in Boston and California and Oregon and Chicago, that they barely break even with cash flow every month, but in 5 years that house is going to be worth 30% more than it's worth now, or that apartment, whatever it is. So that's the difference. A class, you get a ton of appreciation, not much cash flow. B class, you get a little bit of both cash flow and appreciation, which house goes up in value. Then C, you don't get much cash, or you get a lot of cash flow and not much appreciation. And then below that is, I wouldn't suggest going in those areas, but people do, just not me. I don't know a ton about them, so I don't want to talk about them. So that's, I guess, how I would break that down. All right, Nikki Wilson having a lot of problems with ARV on how to deal. So ARV is after repair value. In order to buy rentals or flips, you need to know what the property is worth when it's fixed up. So I'll give you a couple tips on after repair values and how to calculate them. So I'd suggest getting to know a real estate agent if you don't. And if you do, then get to know one. Or develop a relationship if you don't know one, or you should become one, but they're the best way to find comparable house sales. So ARV, the best way to find the ARV, which is the house is worth when it's fixed up, is find 3 houses that have sold in the last 6 months within a quarter mile, maybe a half a mile of the property that you own. Now it has to be the same house. It can't be a 3-1 slab single story is not a comparable to a 4-2 2-story. So it has to be similar, 3-bed, 2-bath, similar square footage. It can be within 100 to 200 either way. It needs to be within a quarter mile, maybe a half a mile, same condition. If you're fixing yours up really nice, then use a nice comp. If you're not going to fix yours up very nice, and some of the houses you've seen sold recently are super nice, they aren't comps. So you need to see what your house is going to look like when it's done, and then find out houses in the area, same neighborhood preferable, but if not, then definitely the same school district. So that's some kind of general things you need to go to, but it's just going to be trial and error going through. And a lot of these questions are answered on our YouTube and on our social media. So ask them here, but join our social media on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, and we answer all this stuff. Yes, I have TikTok. I don't dance though. Maybe I'll dance if I get a big enough following. But all these questions are on there, so ask them now. I love answering them, but they're on there, so definitely keep there. So keep up on our stuff. Is there a minimum amount of time you rent a property before you refinance? Great question, Ty SoFly. So Ty is talking about buying a property, fixing it up, and then before you refinance to get all your money back, which is the BRRRR method. We have a ton of videos on my YouTube. If you don't understand what that is, I'll probably do a live maybe on that next week. But yes, sometimes there's at first, if you're dealing with a bank for the first time, they might make you make 3, 4, 5, 6 months seasoning period. If they're a small bank, they don't have to make you do that. That's kind of their limits. Now we don't wait anytime. As soon as the property is fixed up, even before a tenant gets in, we refinance so we can get out of the short-term higher interest loan and get into the long-term bank loan with better interest rates. So obviously we cash flow more. So there's not a specific time for small banks. For bigger banks that sell the loan off to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, government funded stuff, those will make you wait 6 months. So it just depends on what your bank is doing. So ask your local bank. Tyler, what's up? What is the best quick and dirty estimate to estimate closing and rental insurance? I think Luke has his formula for rental insurance. I think it's for every $100,000 that we have. Luke, answer this if you're on here. If you're not, I think it's for every $50,000 that we have of a property, it's $600. So a year. So if we have $50,000, a property's worth that, it's $600. If the property's worth $100,000, it's $1,200. So I think that's the formula. If not, we'll correct that. But that's kind of a way to do it. But just you'll learn it as you get quotes. You'll understand. You'll understand it. And then also estimate closing costs. Closing costs at, I would say, $1,000 to $1,500 will cover you in most states. St. Louis, Missouri, it will. Some states that are a little more expensive, a little more red tape you have to go through. That may be closer to a couple thousand, but usually it's a percentage of the purchase price is what it is. So what's up? All right. Yeah, they'll definitely archive labor for sure. Buy foreclosures. They're the best. Foreclosures are definitely awesome for sure. $500 a month. Or there you go, Lucas. So Lucas answers the question. So I think I said that completely wrong. Maybe it was close, but $50 a month for every $100K of insured value in St. Louis at a real estate or at a real estate insurance company that crushes real estate rental insurance. So, your State Farms, your stuff like that, your bigger insurance companies aren't going to have that lower rates. But if you find local companies local companies, Shelters are a company, they're not necessarily local, but if they have a product for rental properties, that's where you want to go with. The bigger companies usually don't. So Ty SoFly, I lost a job last week. Sorry to hear that, man's few G's saved up by first rental property if need be, but with hard money lenders. Hard money lenders might or might not work with you if you're unemployed. So I would definitely probably approach them once you have a job. So that's a little tricky. They're definitely going to want to see some income and some money in the bank for sure. Zachary, I'm sure it's a dumb question. There's no dumb questions. We talked about another video, but since I'm barely finding this channel, we are live. Figure why not? Benefit of refinancing 6 months later. What's the purpose? So that's a great question. So we're talking about the BRRRR method here, where you buy, rehab, and then rent it, and then refinance to get all your money back. There's no reason that you want to wait 6 months to refinance. If it's a bigger bank and it doesn't hold the note internally, it takes the note at 4.5% and it sells it to Fannie Freddie Mae on the secondary market. Not try to confuse things too much there at 4.6%. They just make a little bitty spread and they move on. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are backed by the government and they make you wait 6 months. So there's rules and regulations. Obviously the government's involved. So that's why it's regulated by the government for the bigger banks to make you wait 6 months. The smaller banks keep the notes in-house and don't have as many rules to abide by. If you're just starting, they may make you wait. It's not a stupid question at all. This is a great question. They may make you wait 2, 3, 4 months to let it season, to prove that you know how to manage it, to prove that you know what you're doing, to prove that it produces cash. So they may just want you to prove yourself as part of the reason banks make you wait. So that I guess may answer your question. James, share it on Facebook and like. All right, man, appreciate it. See you on the next one. James is my dude. All right, so just purchased 80-year-old home that is very outdated. Not sure where to start in renovation. Most of the work will be done by myself and my husband. Jay Hill, I love that. You took number 5 to heart when I said take action. You're just doing it. buying an 80-year house and not sure where you're going from here. I love it. I would get to know local real estate investors that'll help you out. Definitely get 3 bids on everything. I know you're doing a lot of the work yourselves, but just you work your way through. I did a lot of the work on my first few deals as well. Lucas and I were there every evening and most weekends. So, or most weekends and most evenings and every weekend. But yeah, I would just say get 3 bids on everything. Take your time on it. You don't want to cover up something, or especially right now going into the election and everything. If it needs a lot of work, just get through it as efficiently as you can, but make sure you're doing things right. And if you're doing the work yourself, you're going to learn a ton. There's a ton on YouTube. You can rehab a whole house on YouTube by asking questions. So or by asking questions and looking at different videos. So I will be here next Wednesday. Maybe I'll have Lucas with me at 8:30. So stay tuned. Follow us there. Follow us here on YouTube if you're watching. Subscribe if you're watching on Facebook. Like us and follow us. Go follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well. Appreciate you guys watching. See you next time.